What's up, everybody? It's Hannah Welton, drummer for Prince, and we are going to get into breaking down the top 10 funk grooves that I think everyone should have in their arsenal, because we all already know these songs and love them anyways, so why not take it further and learn how to play them, right? Funk music is so special to me. I love it because can't you feel it? First of all, don't you feel the difference when you listen to funk? It's irresistible. You gotta move, you gotta get into it, right? And secondly, I think that it makes us all feel something like that, because at the time in history that funk music really came into the mainstream and into the forefront, there was so many political hardship that was going on, and even racial tension. And I feel like the artists, especially someone like James Brown, really used their music to make statements and make a difference and make an impact on the culture. And so we can still feel that now, decades later, and sort of bring that into what we're doing and keep it relevant in our careers. I got the feeling. So the first groove that we're going to be breaking down today is I Got The Feelin by James Brown. It's one of my favorites, especially this particular version is live from the Memorial Auditorium. And I like it so much, I think just because it's really fast and it's always a really great workout. But yeah, it's just, you can feel the energy oozing through the track. And so here we go. Let's break it down. One thing that is really cool about this groove is that the hi-hat splashes are on upbeats. So you won't typically hear, at least on this version, any hi-hat splashes on the downbeat. But we will get into some grooves that have that a little bit later. And one cool thing about this is that the slower you play it, the more room and space there is to have those fun little flurries and ghost notes. But the faster you play it, there's not really a lot of space for that. And so even you can sort of do variations of the splashes on the hi-hat. They don't always have to be on all the upbeats. You can kind of switch it up and maybe do one splash on the hi-hat, or every other pass or whatever. You can kind of change that up and customize it to what you want and what makes you comfortable. But that's kind of the basic breakdown of that groove.
Wow, I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. I feel good.
Number 2 is I Got You, I Feel Good. We all know this one, right? This song is so classic, and just that James Brown growl right at the beginning gets all of us hyped. So we're gonna break this down. It's actually very simple, and as I was breaking this down for myself to really learn the groove, I didn't realize the verse is all on rim clicks. It's just rim shots. So here we go. It's simple 8th notes, rim clicks, and again, more splashes on upbeats. Here we go. Eighth notes on the hi-hat, and if you saw the previous video of me breaking down Let's Work in the Prince grooves, it's gonna be that same concept. You're gonna wanna use the tip of the stick on the very top of the hi-hat to get that nice, dainty, those even 8th notes. You don't have to hit very hard. We're doing rim clicks, so how hard can you really hit there? Solid rim clicks though. Number 3, we are gonna break down Flashlight by Parliament. So gross, so stanky, so funky. Here we go. Here, we wanna lay into that hi-hat. The hi-hat is driving right now in partnership with this kick. So you can use just a little bit into like where your stick starts to really get fat and thick. Take that, lay right into the edge of your hi-hats, and you still want to have those even strokes. So no accents or ghost notes on the hi-hat, just straight even 8th notes. That's your metronome. That's your clock. And then the kick, you want to lay into every beat. You're on just those solid 1 and 3 on the kick, 2 and 4 on the snare, 8th notes on the hi-hat. What's cool about this groove though is even though it's super straight, you can throw in the tiniest little ghost note. 1, 2, it's like going right into beat 3. Right before you hit the kick, you just do a little tiny pickup with the snare as a ghost note, and it makes it feel swung for that moment, even though it's a very straight groove. Makes it super funky. So, there's Flashlight.
So I hope you're enjoying this video so far, and I just wanted to let you know that we have tons of other lessons and courses available inside of Drumeo. Some more stuff from Hannah Welton and other funk drumming legends like David Garibaldi, Dennis Chambers, and Larnell Lewis. So if you want to check that out, you can head over to drumeo.com by clicking the link right below this video, and you can start a 7-day free trial to Drumeo.
One of my all-time favorites for number 4, Musicology. Prince was a funk master. You can't go wrong with learning any of his grooves. So I'll jump into that now for you guys, and I know you're gonna dig it. There it is. So number 5, funky drummer. Now, if you're a drummer and you consider yourself funky, I think we should want to break down Funky Drummer. This song is one of the most sampled songs, basically just because of this groove right here. So don't be, discouraged from learning it just because it sounds complicated. When you really break it down and simplify it, it's not too hard. You just got to get it really comfortable in your hands. So here we go. Dive in. Funky drummer. The way that I learned this and really dove in is similar to how I learned the Prince groove for the song Mountains. I broke it up and sort of diversified and just focused on, okay, what is the hi-hat doing here? Because the hi-hat is complex in and of itself. You're playing eighth notes, but it splashes on very specific beats. Then it was like, okay, what's the kick doing and how do the kick and the hi-hat go together? Then I learned specifically what is the snare doing, because there's ghost notes, there's accents, and all sorts of busy stuff. And so it is totally okay to really strip this down for yourself and learn each part individually and then put them together slowly. So I put the hi-hat and the kick together and got that comfortable. Then I put the hi-hat and the snare together and got that comfortable. Then I did the kick and the snare and got them together comfortably before I put all 3 of them together. Another cool pointer for this is you kind of want the groove to feel like it's in between being straight and being swung. So you don't want it completely, but you also don't necessarily want it completely, right? There's a sweet spot right in the middle of those 2 feels where this groove really shines, is right there in that sweet spot between not too straight and not too swung. The next groove we're breaking down is Cold Sweat. And you will actually come to find that Cold Sweat is very similar to I Got The Feelin, which was the very first groove we broke down in this video. But the hi-hat accent, the very first one on the splash, is actually on the downbeat for this song. So that's a similarity, but also a slight difference where we kind of see the same groove, but it's just played in a different variation, and it brings on a whole new life, which is what we've talked about already. So here's Cold Sweat. For some reason, these funk guys rarely crashed on the crash cymbals, especially on the downbeat. I feel like as writing parts has kind of modernized and gotten really well produced, we've been taught and programmed to crash on the crash cymbals, at the top of every new section, or maybe every 4 bars or every 8 bars and new phrases. We're kind of constantly crashing. But when you listen to these old tracks, these guys were literally just grooving and they hardly ever hit the crash cymbal, especially in those spots that's really natural for us nowadays. So check out this song as the bridge part comes. Bap, bap, ba-da-da. The horns are doing all those hits. The drummer is just grooving through all of it and just keeping that hi-hat really consistent. So I hope that's an interesting little pointer for you.
Get down, 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 get down.
Number 7, Jungle Boogie. Here we go. Let's just dive right into it. Again, heavy hitting right on beat 1 with the hi-hat. Something that's really cool to keep in mind here is even though we're doing 16ths and then some, upstroke syncopated kick patterns, you don't want your 16th to be so close together. So rather than doing you don't want them to be too close. You still want them to have that swung 16th feel, but leave just enough space in between the two hits. And then that last kick phrase, sometimes you want to kind of have space to where it almost feels triplet-y. Other times you can nuance it and kind of make it a little more 16th note-y. The cool thing about this groove is that you know that it was played by a person because it's not completely perfect every time. It's one thing with funk is that what makes it so funky and like amazing is that it's raw and it's coming authentically from that person and that player in that very moment. So you don't have to have every note perfectly placed in the grid. Allow yourself to kind of get a little sloppy, so to speak, because that's really where that real funky feeling comes from.
I want to thank you for letting me be myself again.
Number 8, one of my favorites to jam with Prince is Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself by Sly and the Family Stone. Really cool personal story with this is that Larry Graham was the bass player for Sly and the Family Stone. He's the guy that invented that beloved slap bass that we all love to hear. He's extremely funky and was a great friend of Prince's, still is a great friend. And he would come to Paisley Park often and we would just jam and rock out. And this was always a song that we would go to because of course it's a Sly and the Family Stone song. So here's the groove. Thank you for letting me be myself. Not too complicated. It's actually pretty similar to a lot of our rock grooves. It's very similar to Let's Work and like Purple Rain. It's just a little bit faster than Purple Rain, but a pretty basic concept. One thing that Prince taught me that made it super funky is outside of the super even and straight solid eighth notes on the hi-hat, putting in a little bit of the swung kick as we're kind of turning the phrase around is always such a winner. Anytime you have a straight groove, when you can put in just the tiniest little ghost note either on the snare or on the kick to swing it a little bit and give it a little push there, it always works so beautifully.
My friend, feel it's their appointed duty.
Number 9, Use Me by Bill Withers. Now, a lot of people maybe wouldn't classify this as a funk song per se. Bill Withers was a soul singer, R&B, but we used to jam this song a lot with Prince, and you don't have to necessarily be in the funk genre to be funky, right? You can be a rock player or a rock musician and be funky. I'm gonna demonstrate this groove for you guys because it's one of my all-time faves that we used to jam with Prince. And it's another one of those that has rim clicks, but it's extremely funky. Here we go. Another thing to keep in mind for this is kind of the basic breakdown of the groove, but you'll notice that the drummer, he may not always do those 3 hi-hat splashes, or he may dance a little bit differently on the kick from time to time and add a couple extra hits and stuff like that. So once you get the basic bones of this groove and the breakdown, you can add your own flavor and, you know, maybe change up the kick pattern from time to time, change up how you do the splashes, how you do the rim clicks. That's the fun of being a creative. So have at it. So our final groove is another one of my favorites. It was so fun to jam with Prince on stage. It's Jungle Love by The Time. And we're just gonna jump right into it because it is funky. So that's Jungle Love. You'll find that it's very similar to Let's Work as well. So keep those same pointers that we went over in the previous video with Let's Work and apply it here. You'll also hear in the record on Jungle Love that there are quite a few upstroke hits that the band will do, and even the drummer did. I'm not sure who played on that record, but any of these sort of fills here. Those are always funky and really nice, solid, clean. And again, not too complicated. It's just placing the simple thing that you do in the right place, right in pocket. Okie dokie. So we just broke down some of my top favorite funk grooves of all time. They're classic songs. They're all funky. They're all disgusting in the best way. And so I hope you enjoyed this lesson and that it gave you some insight maybe that you didn't have before concerning these songs. Be sure to let me know what you took from this lesson. If there's some other funk songs that, you know, maybe I didn't break down that you feel like I should, or you'd like to see, or, you know, just what you like to jam on your own. And also I've got my own course inside of Drumeo for you guys to check out on writing the perfect parts. So as we're breaking down all these cool funk grooves, we're gonna really dive in together on how we can create that for ourselves, for our own music, for our cover songs, for our YouTube videos, with our bands. No matter what situation you're in or your experience and expertise level, you will get something out of this course, and I hope you check it out.
So good, but I gotta hear you.